So a patient walks into my office about a month ago and says, I have something for you. And he takes out a test tube and hands it to me. Initially, on inspection, I said, ooh, there's a couple of ounces of gold filings here. This is very interesting. And then he tells me, take a closer look. And as I took a closer look, I shuddered because I found fragments of tooth in the gold filings. I shuddered because anyone who knows their recent history knows that the Nazi machine was bent on harvesting victims of the Holocaust for gold. I asked him where did he procure this, and he told me a very strange story. His neighbor had recently died and had been holding on to this for 70 years. Apparently, the neighbor was a GI who had been involved in the liberation of a concentration camp and had obviously pilfered this bit of gold dust. He said that his neighbor told him that since I was Jewish, I would know what to do with this. I took it from this patient with the intention of handing it in to a Holocaust museum, either the Skokie Holocaust Museum or at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, since I visit my parents on a monthly basis over there. Then discussing it with my rabbi, I understood that there was a halachic problem with this. Because the question surrounds the issue as to whether this is human remains or not, and the definition of human remains, halachically, is that this has been removed from a human body after death. If it was removed from a human body before death, for instance in a dental office, then it's merely a fragment of bone of a tooth and doesn't require burial. But were this to have been taken from a corpse, then anything to do with the corpse requires human burial. So I now went back to the literature and the history books to see what is the likelihood that this was taken after the poison gas and before cremation in a concentration camp, or was it removed by a group of dentists who were employed in the same concentration camp, since after the war a number of dentists testified at the Nuremberg trials and elsewhere as to their removal of gold from live human beings. And to my expectation, 99% of the gold fillings taken from victims was post-mortem. So they were taken into the gas chamber, Zyklon B was used, and then capos and other inmates went in and wrenched the gold teeth out from the dead person. So in fact this requires burial, and I will not be able to proudly present it to the Holocaust Museum, but I am going to send this film and I hope this will be a memory to those who have died. When I showed this to my commanding officer, who actually collects Nazi memorabilia, he told me that he was having a conscience, having bought these two Hitler items on the market, of actually selling them. And so he gave them to me to donate to the Holocaust Museum along with the test tube. And these are actual original Nazi armbands for the station master that would have been in charge of directing the trains into Auschwitz. I hope this adds to the memory of those who died unnecessarily and viciously, and whose even remains, along with hair and with other body items, were used by the Nazi machine in the Nazi war effort. And we hope that their memory will be a blessing for all of us. Thank you.